like to make a cute backpack gift bag like one of these, you're going to need a Cricut Maker or Explorer machine. You're also going to need a green standard mat, a fine point blade and a scoring wheel. You could use a scoring tool, but I don't find they score quite as well. To make this medium-sized backpack, I used a piece of deluxe paper from Cricut, which is double-sided, but you could also use 2 pieces of A4 card. For the larger backpack, I used this Sizzix linen texture medium weight cardstock, and I needed 3 pieces. You'll need some strong craft glue to stick it together, some brads or gems to decorate the flaps, and some small magnets or Velcro if you want to be able to close the flaps. And of course you're going to need a design in Design Space. I created the pieces to make up these backpacks in Design Space using free elements, so they are free to make, and you'll find them on my profile page, Create with Debs. Let me know in the comments if you have any difficulty finding my page, and I'll do what I can to help. Once you've found my profile page, select the backpack you'd like to make, double click on it, and if you want to change any part of it, then you can customize it. Otherwise, you can go to the Make It button, which will take you straight to the Make It page. The medium-sized backpack fits nicely onto one piece of 12 by 12 card, and Design Space will have automatically selected that. But if you wanted to use A4 card, then just change the material size to A4, and you'll see that you'll get an additional mat added. Once you've pressed continue, you need to select what material you're using and whether you're going to use the scoring wheel or scoring tool. Again, I do recommend the scoring wheel for this project. Follow the instructions in Design Space as usual to cut out your pieces. Once your pieces are cut, you can just remove them from the mat. I used masking tape to secure my paper to the mat before cutting. I didn't want to ruin the project. I do prefer the better safe than sorry approach. So you should end up with a front piece and a back piece, and a flap for the top and the strip that will go on the back. This is the bottom of the bag, and we have 2 straps and a tag, and the pocket and the flap for the pocket, and a strip that will go on the back of the flap, and then we have 2 side pieces. Okay, so I prefer to start with making the front pocket. You'll need a ruler and a pencil, your craft glue and a brad. I find it helps to draw a line where I want the bottom of the pocket to go on the front piece of the backpack. Now you're going to want to fold the pocket piece along the 3 score lines to create tabs. I did find working with this paper a little bit tricky, as a couple of times when I was folding the tabs, the 2 sides of the paper peeled away from each other, so I did have to glue it together again in a couple of places. Now you're going to want to put glue at the bottom of both of the side tabs and glue the bottom flap where you've put the glue. This makes it easier when you're gluing the pocket to the front piece. Now add glue to all 3 tabs and glue it in place on the front piece of the backpack. Now you're going to want to pop the brad into the hole for the flap of the pocket. I'm using the pattern side to be the outside of the pocket, and I'm going to glue that strip of paper to cover the inside where the brad is, just to make it look nice and neat and tidy. If you don't want to use a brad and don't want the holes in the flaps, if you go back into the design and choose the customize option, you'll find in the panel on the right that I've hidden some additional flaps that don't have holes in. If you click on the little arrow next to where it says backpack medium, this will hide the details of the backpack and it will bring up the flaps without holes underneath it. And then if you click on the little eye to the right, it will bring the flaps onto the canvas. You may need to zoom out a bit to find them. Then you'll want to ungroup the medium backpack pieces and hide the 2 flaps with the holes in, so you don't have extra flaps that you don't need. And if you have a corner rounder, you might want to use it to round the corners of the flaps. You could also use scissors to do this. Now you want to fold along the score line to create a tab for the flap. And you're going to be putting glue along there and then tucking it into the top of the pocket and sticking it in place. You want to take care tucking the flap into the top of the pocket, or you might get a bit of glue on the front piece like I did. This is why I like using the dries clear, because you can wipe it off quickly and you don't see anything. But obviously it's better not to have glue there in the first place. Okay, there's our pocket. We're going to move on to the back of the backpack now. And if you have a bone folder, you can gently curl the straps and the tag, which makes them a little easier to work with. If you don't have a bone folder, you could use a pencil instead. We're going to glue the tag and the straps to the back of the back piece of the backpack. Use a ruler and a pencil to find the centre of the top of the back piece. Mark at that point and then put another mark 1.5 centimetres to the left and the right of the centre point. And you're also going to want to put a mark about 2 centimetres up from the bottom edge on both sides of the back piece. And then pop a bit of glue on each of those marks. Now take your piece for the tag and fold it into a tag shape with the colour that you want to see from the front of the backpack facing you, and then stick it onto the centre of the top of the back piece. Hold it in place for a little bit to give it a chance to stick a bit. And now you're going to want to stick your straps either side of the tag, making sure that the colour you want to see on the outside is facing upwards. And now stick the bottom of each strap to the bottom of the back piece where you put the glue. And we're going to glue the top flap to this piece next. So let's make the flap. As you did before, pop the brad into the hole and glue the strip onto the back to cover up the back of the brad on the back of the flap. And then fold along the 2 score lines at the top of the flap. And use either a corner rounder or a pair of scissors to round the corners of the pocket flap if you would like to do that. And now we can stick our flap to the back piece. Put glue along the top edge of the flap and then stick it to the inside of the back piece over the top of where you've stuck the tag and the straps. We're going to move on and do the side panels next. Gently crease the Y-shaped score lines in the middle of the panels and create tabs by folding the score lines on either side of each panel. And then apply glue to one of the tabs. And then stick this panel to the inside of the back piece. The triangle shaped folds on the side panels need to be at the bottom of the backpack. Take care when folding to make sure you've got the colour that you want on the outside of the backpack. And then you can do the same with this second side panel. Let's make the bottom of the backpack. So you just need to fold along the 4 score lines. You may find using a bone folder helpful, it just sharpens the creases. And now we can stick the back piece and the side panels to the bottom piece like this. So you need to apply glue to 3 of the tabs of the bottom piece. And wrap the back and the side panels around the bottom piece and stick into place. And we're nearly there. Now we just need to glue the 3 tabs on the bottom and the 2 sides of the backpack and stick the front piece to it. I find it helps to just glue those bottom corner bits first. Once you've applied glue to all 3 tabs, you just stick on the front piece. Hold it in place until it's dry. And then we have one more thing to do. It is to add some magnets so that you can close the flap. You'll need 2 small magnets. Stick one to the inside of the flap on the other side of the brad. Put the second magnet on top of that first magnet. Then apply glue or a glue dot to the bottom of that magnet. Close the flap and the second magnet will stick on the front of the backpack in the right place. Or you could use a small piece of Velcro instead of magnets. So here's a better way to make the pocket, which is less likely to leave glue on the front piece of the backpack. As before, take your pocket piece and fold at the score lines to make your tabs. And stick the bottom of the 2 side tabs to the bottom tab. And prepare the flap in the same way as before, folding to make the tab and rounding the corners if you want to. And this time, tuck the flap into the top of the pocket, like so. Now take your glue and pop a bit of glue just underneath the top of the side tabs and stick them to the tab of the flap. Hold it in place for a bit just to allow it to dry, and then apply glue to all 4 tabs. And then you just stick it in place on your front piece of your backpack. And that's it, there's your little medium-sized backpack. You could add magnets to the flap of the pocket if you wanted to. I think this makes a really lovely gift wrap idea for small treats or gifts. So I hope you enjoy making it, and I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye for now.